I think about 4 times. We lived there for 7 years. 4 times out of 7 years isn't too bad. Anyway, every time we went out there, indeed, something bad would happen. You guys remember what happened to my foot?
Yeah.
Said a nasty rusted nail. I mean, Mom was right, but see, that even afterward, the draw was still to go over there. Who went to BC Bros?
Oh yeah.
What was a very painful thing that we did? Girls, you need to also understand this. We're going to get to you guys, girls in here in a little bit. But even though we walked away with welts, actually I didn't get hit very much, but anyway, some of these, I shot this kid named Joshua. Josh, are you in here? Josh, I'm sorry. Oh, I was trying to shoot this kid named Daniel. Daniel was one of our adult leaders, and man, they gave me one of those rapid fire guns, and man, I am unloading next to Daniel. I got a double trigger finger. I'm like, I mean, just trying to unload on this guy. And so Daniel gets out of the way. You know who's behind him? My buddy Josh. Oh, he got nailed so bad. I think I let out about 6 shots before I realized that's not Daniel anymore. And man, he had some nasty welts here, like almost an immediate bruise. And several others. This is one story that I saw firsthand because I did it. But at the end of this event, I said, "Who's got some battle scars?" Man, they're all, "Oh, look at this! Oh yeah, man!" I mean, I'm like, "Dude, put your clothes back on." Anybody have any bad ones? And we had one kid. Somebody got him right here in the stomach. I mean, just a big old fat bruise right there. Huge. I said, "Did that hurt?" Yeah, man, it hurt real bad. I'm like, "Would you do it again?" Yeah! They almost shouted a battle cry. You know, of course they would do it again. Why?
Because it's awesome.
Men, you're going to see here.
Men like to get hurt.
We have 3 things. Really, it can be brought down to 2 things. I'm going to make it really easy for you guys. Guys, because of what happens here in verse number 15, you are pre-programmed. Whether you use this drive or not, whether you choose to deny it or not, whether you choose to not take advantage of it or not, you are driven to conquer, to protect, or really defend. Defending and conquering is just these drives. And conquering, that's the reason why I wanted to go and explore. I wanted to say, yeah, I know what's happening at the ditch next to my house. I can tell you where everything's at. I can even tell you where the nail is that went through my foot. There's this drive for us to protect. You know, when we're going to talk about here in a little bit, because God put that in here, put that in our hearts, just like He did it intentionally, just like the drives and the needs that women have. Let's look here at verse number 15. There in chapter 2. The Lord placed the man in the garden of Eden to tend and watch over it. He gave Adam a job. So you're not going to just be here and walking around eating grapes. Alright, you got a job to do, and you're going to fulfill it. But the Lord warned him, "You may eat freely of the fruit of every tree in the garden except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat of it, you will surely die." And the Lord said, it is not good, verse number 18, "for the man to be alone. I will make him a helper who is just right for him." So the Lord, verse number 19, so the Lord formed the woman out of the ground. And the Lord formed the ground, all the animals, not the woman. From the ground, all the wild animals and the birds in the sky, and He brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. So what He's doing is He's going to show Adam all these other animals that have already been created. He's recreating them in the garden, one by one, and letting Adam say, "All right, I want you first see that I can do this." He made these animals right there in front of Adam and asked Adam to name the animal, and to find a helpmeet, to find someone that would be joined with him. So God will raise up a hippo. Say, "Hippo. No, thank you. Octopus. Nah, I'll be all right." You know, He got all these animals, and by the time he finished, he's like, look at this. In verse number 20, he gave them all the livestock, all the birds of the sky, all the wild animals, but there was still no helper just right for him. He didn't see any of these things like, none of these ones are like me. Verse number 21, so the Lord caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. While the man slept, the Lord God took out one of the man's ribs and closed up the opening. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib, and he brought her to the man. Takes the rib out of God. Now, there is no generational rib that doesn't grow back or anything like that. In fact, the bottom two ribs that you have on either side, if they're broken and they're actually taken out, they would literally grow back. They're not actually attached to your sternum. But whether or not that was a rib that God took out, we don't know. But only Adam was missing a rib, if he was. So God took that rib out of Adam. Now Adam is already in the garden. Adam was created out of the dirt. And then God put him in the garden. Eve was actually taken out of the beauty of Eden. Was created in the beauty of Eden. You see, guys, it's the reason why I have multiple markers. Red? What do y'all think? Red?
Yeah.
We'll go black.
Oh, come on.
There you go. All right.
Black for the guys.
Dudes, you guys. Look at that. It's got double caps. Come on.
Who does that?
Dudes, you guys are different than girls in two things. You have drives.
Drives?
Mm-hmm. These are, remember I said we have two drives? Anybody remember that? This isn't driving a vehicle. These are like motivations, or these are things you want to do.
No,
what's one of them? Huh?
Exploring.
Exploring falls under what? I always misspell this word.
I know how to spell
It's R-E, right? Not E-R?
U-E-R.
Yeah, put E-R.
U-E-R, right?
E-R-E.
R-E-R. No, it's not R-E-R. Wow. I've never felt so stupid in all my life. What is it?
R. U-E-R.
That's wrong. That's
right.
That's wrong.
Right.
I'm going to touch my phone and find out.
You better edit this out. If you have one, excuse me.
No, yeah, it's spelled.
You got one. What's the other one?
Defend.
Defend. A lot of things that fall under these two things, but basically if you look at everything that a guy does and the reason why he does it, it falls under one of the categories. Things that he doesn't know, things that he wasn't even taught to do. Okay? The girl's very different. See, basically man is driven to conquer and defend. But girls were created for a very specific purpose. Girls don't invent games. When you girls were little, you guys didn't invent games where multitudes of people died. You know, you didn't pick up sticks and figure out a way to turn it into You didn't go out and start figuring out games to where everybody would be against one person and tackle them. I mean, you guys did very, very different types of relational things with one another. You guys had tea parties. You guys played marriage. You guys played with Barbies. You girls played with... Now, I'm not saying you don't enjoy playing sports. You don't enjoy competition.
I used to play BB.
There's a reason why there's a draw for you to have a teddy bear or a little baby doll. When children are really little, when they're 5, you know, they want to hold that baby just like mom does, you know, and they go and they get all kinds of excited when there's a bottle that when you turn it over, that all the juice goes and disappears somewhere. You know, the more realistic it is, the more expensive it is, and the more they want it. I mean, it's satisfying a draw. It's satisfying a want. that they're pre-programmed to do. I want to blend this to nurture. We're going to read this here in a little bit. The act that this is going to be described here. Let's read that here for a second. You guys, I want you to see what's going to happen. The devil, the enemy, comes and deceives Eve. Now, in most cases, you may think that Adam was off somewhere, had no idea what was happening between the serpent and Eve. But you'll see that's not at all what happened. If you guys turn over just one chapter to chapter 3. I'll turn there with you. Genesis chapter 3. Look here. What they're going to do, Eve is going to be deceived, be tricked by the serpent. And she's going to eat of the tree that God told Adam not to eat of it. Now, God didn't come to Adam and say, Adam, look, I don't want you to eat of this tree, because if you do that, you're going to die, and then add something to it. He said, don't eat of this tree, or else you'll die. He did not say, now, also what's going to happen is you're going to cause everybody else that's born after you to be born into sin because of you. All the entire race of the humankind is going to be born into sin. And so to avoid that from happening, here's how you stop yourself from eating of this tree. No, he didn't do that. Why? Because he believed in Adam. He believed in Adam to do the right. He believed in Adam that he had what it took to defend Eve. Now, we have drives, but guys, sometimes we choose not to do that. Look here. The woman was convinced that she saw that, verse number 6, she saw that the tree was beautiful and the fruit looked delicious. And she wanted the wisdom it would offer her. So she took some of the fruit and ate it. Then she gave some to her husband, who was what? Was he off somewhere completely oblivious to what just happened?
No.
Huh. He was right there. He was given this role. He didn't do it. He didn't defend. You see, Adam knew better. Eve was tricked. It wasn't that she wasn't smart enough. She was tricked. When you're tricked, you're tricked. Okay? When you're tricked, it's because you are enticed into doing something that you thought would be good. And everything about you, it had nothing to do with a lack of intelligence or anything like that. She was simply tricked. But Adam was right there. Could have been there to rescue her. That brings us to these are adoration. Adorned. Girls, guys, you need to hear this. Girls don't want to be the adventure. They want to be part of the adventure. They want to share in the adventure. Here's what happens a lot of times in relationships. We're going to be talking about relationships here. But I want to talk about the difference between how you guys function. But in a relationship, if all his focus and attention and obsession is with a girl, initially it looks nice. Like, man, it's all about me, isn't it? But after a while, if that doesn't change, if that's the extent of the relationship, do you or do you not get bored?
I get bored.
It happens all the time in relationships that Ty is one of our counselors here at church. And a lot of the marriages that he's talking about, this is a commonality. We're all in brand new marriages. I know you guys aren't thinking about marriages, but in a relationship, if all the attention and focus is put on the girl, there is a tendency to lose interest. Okay, and it's because there is that you, by default, give to your family. because it gives you the security.